Good evening, judges. We request you to pose as investors, social entrepreneurs, and directors of hospitals. Our team collectively aims to achieve the Next Generation Nation's Goal 5 and Goal 17 that are guaranteeing healthcare access to all, and Goal 17, safely integrating AI into the society. Over to our team.
This is Sama, there's Rishabh, then we have Ismail and Khawaish, and I'm Prathiksha. And we are the tech therapists together. Uh, we are here to ensure the complete recovery of the livelihood of people who have been tested positive with the virus. To begin with, we'll be covering. I'll be showing you what we'll be covering with the presentation today.
Did you know a recent KFF poll shows that over 55% of the people in the US say that they've been negatively impacted because of the coronavirus, and they feel that they're depressed and they feel sad. Moreover, patients have been bedridden due to the ventilators and spend 40% of their time on bedridden and are in severe need of the professional help. With an average of 15 psychiatrists per 100,000 people in cities and only 4 per country, the average cost of therapy can go to $60 to $120 a session, making essential services unavailable to the majority of the population.
Given all of this, we present you our solution, Therapy Portal, an integrated application that ensures complete physical and mental recovery of the patients post being tested negative for the virus. We do this in 3 parts, using psychotherapy, physiotherapy, and focus groups. The first and the most important is psychotherapy. Psychotherapy is based on an intelligent chatbot that uses a closed-loop feedback system to adapt its responses and suggestions based on how you are feeling. So what we do is we have computer vision and we use Google's TensorFlow algorithms to detect how you're feeling. So there's a quick demonstration on my computer. 1 second. Yeah. So what's going on is basically the computer, and y'all can see the GIF on your screen as well. The computer uses the camera to read my emotions using my facial expressions. And based on those, it adapts its responses. So for example, it suggests that you try playing this game, and it causes me to be sad. And so next time it knows it's not supposed to give me that suggestion. And if that does not work, and it tries, for example, nonograms with me, and I have a better response to them, then in the future, it suggests more of those in the time that I spend on the application every day. This helps in the mental recovery of the patients because of all the trauma that they faced. After this, we have physiotherapy. Physiotherapy is now, as people spend majority of their time either on the bed or while they're in the ICU or on the ventilator, this causes them to be extremely physically weak. Hence, we need a tool that helps them recover from being weak, basically. And the way our team plans to do that is by gamifying the process of physiotherapy. What we do is we've created a game based on levels and using a PostNet algorithm that detects our gestures and actions and uses them to control characters in the game. So using your camera, you actually play around in those games, and as you're controlling characters, the better you get, the more levels you progress until you're completely recovered.
As a product plans to cater people who just recovered from coronavirus, we plan to adopt a B2B approach and market our application to the hospitals, and using them as a channel will get to our users that are patients. By targeting the hospital, we will use a bulk subscription model through which the hospital will have to pay just $1 per patient, in return of which they will ensure complete recovery of the patients. And to do this, we are targeting the 31,000 people who just recovered from coronavirus in UAE across 104 hospitals.
Our vision will only be accomplished by the combined efforts of a dedicated and passionate team with experience in a variety of fields. We have currently completed our minimal value product, and mid-July, we plan to launch our beta testing phase in the UAE, followed by the US mid-August, using our connections with foundations such as the Next Generation Nations.
Patients after recovering from the virus only have a few options to actually cope with it. Like they have existing apps like Moodpath and Sanvelo, but according to many testimonials, these are not very effective treatments. So the alternative path is doctors and therapists, which we do offer, but since they are very less and very few, they are in actual a lot of demand, and hence they cost a lot. Thank you.
Judges, your
Thank
turn.
you, judges. Now we look forward to your questions.
Hi, this is Madan here. Thank you for the presentation. Have you considered like how exactly will it be deployed? Particularly the chatbot that you suggested, which actually like detects the mood. Like, is it just tied into a particular game, or can you clarify that?
Yeah, sure, sir. So now our app itself is going to have 3 branches. It is going to ask you whether you're looking at healing yourself physically or mentally. If you choose to be healed mentally, the chatbot acts as a friend that you can talk to about your problems. And what the chatbot does is, unlike conventional chatbots like, for example, Siri or Alexa, it adapts its responses and suggestions based on how you react to what it is saying. And it uses the camera to do so. So using your mobile phone's camera, it's going to see how you're feeling. So for example, it responds to a problem that you've addressed to him in a certain manner, and it sees that the response made you sad. So it is going to know that that is not the approach the AI has to take while reacting in such situations. So it's going to use deep learning to learn simultaneously based on how you're reacting to the things that it suggests. Does that clarify or answer your question, sir?
Yeah, thanks. I'll ask one more question and let the other judges ask as well. Like, quick question, like how long did it take for you to kind of like from start to finish do both the demo and the prototypes?
Could you repeat that?
How long did it take for you to start and finish those demo prototypes that you just showed us?
So the demo prototype took about a week and a half to make.
Okay.
It was just a lot of time was spent on the model training because they've been trained by quite a huge data set for the emotion recognition to be accurate.
Hi, thank you for that presentation. I have a question about this data set that you're referring to, and I'd like to know what evidence-based research you used in defining the solution. So your goal is for someone to be healed or to improve their emotional state. What evidence-based data did you use to make those determinations?
Right. So, ma'am, basically, we've referred to a lot of research papers and studies. Apart from that, we conducted our own surveys. I think we got a few hundred responses to a survey conducted by us and spoke to a few experts, therapists and physiotherapists to understand if what we are recommending would work.
We'll come back to the problem slides. Over here, over here, if you see the first problem, we asked them during such a time, would you like to have a therapist would that benefit you? And over around 70% say that yes, it would be very much necessary for them. Can you go to the next slide, please? And so these are all parts of the survey that we conducted. The next question was, do you think patients recovered from COVID-19 need physical and mental therapy? And again, around 80% said, yes, we do think. And the next slide will show us that it asks us whether they agree that therapists are very expensive and they're not available to the people, or they're only available to the people who can afford, like, or to the high end of the economic strata. So they also agreed with that. Around the majority, which is 80% plus, agreed to that. Using our surveys basically helped us come to this problem, come to this conclusion that we very much require our app to be a part of the society, and this is the best time to integrate it.
Yeah. And just to conclude on the answer, I would say there were two essential components. One was getting feedback from our users itself. So speaking to people who either could be possibly affected or someone they know would be affected, and finding out if there is a need for what we are making and if it would help them. And from the scientific point of view, we did a research using research papers and studies, also interacting with experts such as therapists and professors.
Thank you for that. And I know that we're running out of time, so I want to turn over to Samina in just a moment, but I want to clarify my question. It wasn't whether or not you surveyed people to find out if they wanted help. The question was, what evidence-based research done at universities did you use to make this premise, so that you're trying to serve, no more slides, it's okay. This answered the question. So you're trying to serve this population. You want to give them some beneficial outcome. You asked therapists about it, but now you're providing them with a technology solution that includes gamification and surveillance. So I want to know, and you don't have to answer this question right now, it can be later. I want to know who else might use that information that you're gathering on these patients. How else might it be used in this context? And is a game a reasonable substitute for a human being, for a therapist? I'm going to turn over to Samina now. Thank you for your presentation.
Hello team, Samina here. Thanks for the presentation. My question was particularly regarding potential negative consequences. So for example, if you're using a chatbot and you're judging interactions, what do you do about potential, for example, suicide risk, or like referrals to other therapists, to real life people, because that could be kind of a liability for you in terms of if one of your patients has a further issue, kind of how are you interacting with the human element? Is there a referral? Is there someone on the other side who could deal with your patients that are at higher risk? And how would you know if they're at higher risk?
Okay, so we had thought of that before, and that's the reason we've got this sort of a tie-up with the therapists in the hospitals. And so if we come across anything of that sort, we have the professionals to take over the problem in a more realistic way, so that we get to solving it and actually reaching out to them and helping them. And then just an additional thing, we also have something called the focus groups. So if someone is dealing with a similar sort of an issue, they might even get to interact with other people, and that might motivate them or give them more reason to actually thrive and live through life. So yeah.
Yes, so ma'am, that focus groups play an essential role in human interaction. So in case you feel the AI is insufficient, you can join one of the focus groups so you can interact with people in similar situations as you. And just to add to the question asked by Ms. Johan regarding the gamification thing and how that would work, you just want to add to?
Yeah. So, ma'am, we researched a lot behind the game, and we were trying to understand what we can do exactly to solve this very dire problem at the point. So we came across something called the CBT, which means the cognitive behavioral therapy. This can be integrated, and this therapy can be integrated with games, and we have proof for that. And we will be working with the psychiatrists and game developers to make sure our therapy is designed in a particular, our game is designed in a particular way for therapy, and make sure it's very much efficient and reliable. We will also keep taking back feedbacks using the AI and normal surveys to make our game more efficient.